This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Setting up all the technology might seem cumbersome. So I was driving in the car to the Gesher from Staten Island, and I get a call from a Talmud of mine, Barry Graham, who lives in Silver Springs, Maryland, but he was on business in Las Vegas. And he says, Rabbi Weiss, I'm listening to you, and I didn't get the CD yet, so I'm listening on TorahAnytime.com in the car, and you say in the shir, now you have to watch out. And he said, instinctively, I was going to the left, you said watch out, so I checked one more time, and a little car shot out. And I'm sure if I wouldn't have checked, that car would have hit me. So he called me from Las Vegas to let me know the story. He was listening because he was listening on TorahAnytime.com. So we're coming to Purim now. And the Gemara tells us that Esther metama es hayadayim. That Megillas Esther, if you touch it, it contaminates the hand. If you take a Megillah, not a Megillah book, but a Megillah scroll, it's metama es hayadayim. It contaminates the hands. Now, what does that mean? They made a decree that holy scrolls contaminate. Why? Because what happened is they used to keep truma. It says you have to guard the truma. So they started keeping the truma in the Aron Kodesh. And what happened is the mice came, and the mice came and chewed at the Sifrei Torah. So in order that they shouldn't do it, they decreed that holy Svarim are metama, so people shouldn't keep their truma and their kachim in a holy place. The Gemara tells us that Esther is metama es hayadayim, meaning that Esther is one of the holy scriptures. Now, this means that Esther beruach hakodesh nemra, that Esther is full of divine inspiration. Now you have to know that's very important. Because something that's written with divine inspiration means that it was written from Hashem for all times. That means when we open up a Megillah, there's information for the email iPhone generation. Even though Esther had no clue what an email or an iPhone, or for that matter, a car or a phone or an airplane is. But it was written by Hashem, who's Yodea HaSidus, who knows the future. So I wanted to share with you some tidbits that we can learn to better our daily lives. When Mordechai put on sackcloth, it was a real jarring thing. And Mordechai put on a sack. Imagine you saw Chaim Kanievsky come out in the Rechova here in a sack. So Esther said there's a grave emergency, and she understood that Mordechai the Gadol, if he's doing such a public act, it's an emergency on a communal level. So she took her trusted man, Hasach, who was none other than the great Daniel, Vatitzaveyu al Mordechai, and instructed him to go to Mordechai, Ldaas mazeh v'al mazeh. What's this? And why did this happen? Ldaas mazeh v'al mazeh. It's a queer expression. What does that mean? Ldaas ma'azeh v'yal ma'azeh. Well, it's a queer expression. So the Gemara says in Megillah that Esther, her first response, her gut response is, Dilma over ala Torah, mizeh mizeh ksuvim. Maybe they were over on the Torah, where it says about the 10 Commandments, mizeh mizeh ksuvim. That's written on either side. So Ldaas ma'azeh v'al ma'azeh, the double zeh, ma'azeh v'al ma'azeh, is she said, right away, her gut reaction is, maybe there are over on the Torah that says, Mizeh mizeh ksuvim. Throughout life, there's ups and downs. You could have been planning to have an exciting weekend. You were meeting with your friends, and it was really exciting. You had a great plan, and you got sick. You get the flu. You miss everything. You say to yourself, oh, yeah, I didn't take the flu shot. You say to yourself, I should have worn a coat when the weather went from 70 degrees one day to 45 degrees the other day. I should have worn a coat. You have to say, what did I do wrong? What's Hashem telling me? Ldaas ma'azeh v'yal ma'azeh. Did I speak nicely to my mother? Why is Hashem ruining my plans? In life, you know, they say a cute thing, a virus is averus. You have a virus, it's averus. The truth of the matter is that it says, Im Yisurin ba'an alav, if a person, haraya adam she Yisurin ba'an alav, if a person sees that suffering is coming upon him or her, yafashveish b'ma'asav, a person should search their deeds. This is something that should stay with you in life. Something goes wrong, you shouldn't always look just for natural reasons. Now, natural reasons are important. You got to wear a coat if it's cold, and it could be that you got sick because you didn't wear a coat. The Gemara says, "Akol b'dei shemayim chutz mitzinim upach." Everything is in the hand of heaven except for chills and fever. It is a Torah command to watch your health. V'nishmartem ha'odes nafshei seichem. It is a Torah command. So you have to wear a coat. I'm very careful. You see, yesterday I wear a coat. Today I made sure to grab a coat. This is when people get sick, when they're not careful with the change of the weather. But you need to, in life, say that there's such a thing called schar v'onesh, reward and punishment. That's why when there was a mafia rub-out, they killed a mafia person. It was in all the papers. Castellano. They killed Castellano. So I remember somebody asked Rav Miller, what do we learn out from the Castellano rub-out? So Rav Miller said, we learn out V'shilumas rishoyim tireh. You see the payment of the wicked. That's what you learn out. You have to know, if something discordant happens, you have to ask yourself, why is this happening to me? Now, a lot of people don't do this. It's happening to me. Why don't I have enough friends? You don't have enough friends because maybe you're not mekayim v'hafta l'reach kamaycha. Maybe you're thinking about yourself and you don't think that what you don't like, don't do to another person. It's a very big principle. Very big principle. You don't like when people are loud when you're sleeping, don't be loud when other people are sleeping. have to know. You see on the streets at 12 o'clock in the night, I have a daf yomi that ends sometimes close to 12 on Motzei Shabbos. And I'm coming out of the Svadish Shul in Borough Park, and people are honking. How do you honk at 12 o'clock in the night? 12 o'clock in the night in a densely populated area like Borough Park, you honk, you could wake up 20 babies, 10 elderly people. You don't think about it. Madasani lach, what you don't like, don't do to someone else. Never leave the bathroom and forget to flush the toilet, because you don't like to come into a bathroom and the toilet's not flushed. When you flush the toilet, that's what after react kamecha. So Esther told, Mordechai sent with Hasach a message as Kol Asher Karo, everything that occurred. Ve'eis Paroshas HaKesef Asher Omar Haman Lishkol El Ginze Amelch. And he sent, this is absolutely top secret information. Nobody knew this. You know that, you understand that if Achashverosh was going to kill the Jews, there was going to be a very reasonable, they don't fulfill our decrees, they're not good for society, that the king was ready to commit genocide against the whole nation for cash. That's the most embarrassing thing possible. That was a big secret between Haman and Achashverosh. Nobody knew that. How did Mordechai know it? Obviously, Mordechai knew it, Baruch HaKodesh. Right? So it says, he gave her this piece of information. Deis Paroshas HaKesef Asher Omar Haman Lishka, that Haman offered to pay. That's dirty information. And by the way, the Chassam Sofer said that Esther used this information to bring down Haman. You know, look, you're already older now, and you got to be like scratching your head, right? The Esther said that ki nimkarnu ani va'ami. On that fateful moment, the second meal, right, where she unmasked someone, ki nimkarnu ani va'ami. And ve'ilu, if it would only be for servants, hecharashti. But how could I look at the destruction of my people? So Achashverosh asks like a big phony baloney. Who could this be? What do you mean, who could this be? Dumbo, it's you. What do you mean, who could this be? What's a shock? Because she said, Kinim Kanu Ani Va'ami. We were sold. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew that. And Achashverosh was full of rage. You mean Haman told somebody that? He was incredulous. One second. So, what did Mordechai tell Esther to do? So he gave her the following instruction: to go to the king, and to plead with him, and to beseech him for her people. So the first thing is, on the simple level, Mordechai finally gives Esther permission to tell who she is. Here it is, right here in this pasuk. Right? Because until now, Mordechai refused to allow her to say who she was. That's one of the most mysterious things about the whole Megillah. Ein Esther magedes es amo ve'es moladata kasher tziva oleh Mordechai. Like Mordechai said, you can't tell. Now you have to understand, not listening to Achashverosh is a very dangerous business. You know what happened to the last wife that didn't listen to Achashverosh? You don't want to be like his last wife. Either they burnt her alive or they cut off her head and they served it to Achashverosh on a plate. That's an opinion in the Medrash, that Achashverosh was so angry at Vashti that they used what's called a discus, which was the olden day guillotine. They cut off her head and they brought it to him on a plate, and only then did he calm down. Right? So imagine, that's for asking her to do an insane thing, to come in front of everyone in a not sneeristic way. Here, he's just saying, listen, could you tell me your family? I want to invite over your folks. I want to meet them. She said, I'm not telling. It's very dangerous to do. And that's what she said, I'm not telling, because she listened to Mordechai. Ein Esther Magedes Esama Ves Maladita. Now, it's always been a big wonder. Why did Mordechai tell her this? First of all, maybe Mordechai was married to Esther. Maybe if she says she's a Jew, he wouldn't be interested in living with a dirty Jew. Secondly, we know that he had such a love for, an insane love for Esther, that later on he would say, if he would have known in the beginning that Esther was a Jew, he wouldn't have agreed with Haman's plot. And there's another thing. There's a medrash that asks, why did Achashverosh hate the Jews so much? I mean, Haman, we understand he was an Amaleki. But why Achashverosh? Why did he hate the Jews so much? He had a dream. And in the dream, which was a repeated dream, he kept on dreaming that the next king of Persia is going to be a Jew. And he said, it must be the Jews are going to overthrow me. If he would have known that Esther was a Jewess, and his son from Esther, Darius II, Daryavish Beis, would be a Jew, he wouldn't have been so upset. So why did Mordechai not tell her not to? So there's all kinds of opinions. This question is researched and discussed by the great commentaries. It's a big question. One reason he didn't tell her is because he was afraid that Achashverosh might want to marry her because she came from royal blood. She came from Shaul. Another reason is he was afraid that Haman would try to have her killed. That Haman would assassinate her. But a very important reason is said in the Gemara, and again, this is a fundamental for life. A very important reason is that Mordechai didn't want the Jews to say, it's not really a big danger. We have an Esav Paisui. The queen is a Jew. The queen is a Jew. And so, somebody's going to say, Trump's daughter was Megaya, is a Jew, the Jewish grandchildren in the White House. It's okay, we're okay. Right? Mordechai didn't want that. Mordechai wanted everybody to train their heads to Shemayim. Mordechai wanted everybody to look in the right direction. You should know in life, look in the right direction. It doesn't say Hashem's name once in the Megillah. You know why? It's amazing. Megillah is supposed to be all about Persumei Nisa, to broadcast the miracle. And you leave out Hashem's name? I mean, come on. So the famous answer that they give, there are many answers. One of the answers is because Hashem worked undercover. Everything looks like it was, natural events. Mordechai overheard Bigsan and Seresh's plot because he spoke the secret language of Tarshish, because he spoke all 70 languages, and Esther was the most beautiful woman in the world, so it's natural. We should pick her. It looks. You just have to see all the pieces together and see the hand of Hashem, right? So it's undercover. That's one reason. That's why it's called Megillas Esther. Esther means hidden. It's the scroll that talks about what's hidden. But there's another very important reason. Megillas Esther was inserted into the Chronicles of Paras and Modai. The story of Esther is like, George Washington in America, and Abraham Lincoln, and Thomas Jefferson. It's part of Persia, the story of Esther. So it was put into the Chronicles of Paras and Modai. It says that in the Megillah. Now, if they would have put Hashem's name in, Persia would have taken out Hashem's name and put in their gods' names. They would have put in, their Zeus, right? Their Buddha. And you're not allowed to cause that. V'shem Elohim acherim lo yisazkiru. You're not allowed to cause the name of other gods to be mentioned. So the only way to ensure that doesn't happen is not to put in Hashem's name. However, we're told the code. And that is that anywhere where it says Ha-Melech in the Megillah, it also refers, when you read it casually, it refers to Achashverosh. But anywhere that it says Ha-Melech, it's also referring to Hashem. It's an amazing code. There are Svarim just explaining how every Ha-Melech refers to Hashem. And then there are amazing Megillas that the top of each page starts with HaMelech. They're called HaMelech Megillas. Like I have a 28-line HaMelech Megillah. It's called a 28 line. My personal Megillah has 28 lines on each page, in each column, and every column, except of course for the first one, which starts with Vayehi, but after that, every single column throughout the entire Megillah starts with HaMelech. The word HaMelech. There are 11-line HaMelech Megillas. There are 7-line HaMelech Megillas. It's amazing. Every column starts with HaMelech. So listen to this pasuk. Pasuk says that he told Esther, L'tzava Yisaleha, Lavoy el HaMelech. He instructed her to go to the king, L'hischanein loi, to beseech him, or levakesh milafanav alama. So literally it means to go to Achashverosh, risk her life, even though he didn't invite her. But Mordechai was telling her something else. You're the only Jew in the world that's not in immediate danger. Haman's not going to kill you. You're the only Jew in the world. Therefore, you are in the perfect position to pray for your people. He said, to instruct her, Lavoy el HaMelech, to go to Hashem, L'schanein loi. Remember that there are 10 lashons of tefillah. The highest language of tefillah is v'eschanan. That's why when Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to enter into Eretz Yisrael, he said, v'eschanan el Hashem ba'isai lemer. Eschanan and l'hischanein is from the language of chinam, free. We ask Hashem to give a freebie. We don't deserve it. But give me a freebie. That's chen. I should find favor in your eyes, even though I don't deserve it. So Mordechai said, go to the king, l'schanein loi. HaMelech, go to Hashem, l'schanein loi. Ulevakesh, and to beg milafanav alama. You have to know that when you don't need something and you ask Hashem for others, that's very powerful. That's what we say in Ashrei. You say Ashrei, right? In Ashrei we say, Karov Hashem l'chol karav. Hashem is close to all those that call Him. L'chol asher yikru'uhu ve'emes. To all that call Him in truth. A lot of people call to Hashem when they're in need. But if you call one in truth, not because you're in need, it's even worth more. Mordechai said, you could call. In life, see here Mordechai, you would say Mordechai is giving her a strategy. Mordechai is telling her, first of all, you should go and daven. In life, we try to get our way in many different ways. You should know that one of the most important ways is to daven. Get used to trying to get help from the one who could always help you. Now, all of you are aspiring to be wonderful mommies. I know that. Rav Pam, who was recognized as one of the Gdei Adar, I believe before he passed away, he was the chairman of the Moetzes Gdei Atayra. He was recognized by everyone, beloved by everyone. Right? You're too young to remember Rav Pam, right? Oh. Rav Pam made a statement that successful child raising, you gotta hear this, successful child raising is 50% tefillah. 50% tefillah. Imagine a mother raises children her whole life, she never once said, Hashem, help me do the right thing. Help me get it right. Rav Pam says it's 50% tefillah. So here, Klal Yisrael is being threatened with annihilation. And what does Mordechai tell her to do here? She's the wife of the king. She's in a tremendous position of power. Mordechai reminds her, Lavoi al HaMelech, don't forget to go to the king. Hashem lischanin loi ulavake shalama. Put your eyes and your mouth in the right place. Very soon, you're all going to be busy with the single biggest decision of your life. Bar none. Who to marry. It's the single biggest decision. It colors all of this life and all of the next life. Because in the next world, you're also married. I mean, that's why Avram and Sarah are buried zugos in pairs. It's this world and the next world. All of life. For this, every pious person prays towards the time of finding. What's the time of finding? So the Gemara says, Matzah Isha Matzah Taiv. Time of finding is to find your mate, your soulmate. And you should pray in advance. Every day when you daven, you should pray, Hashem, help me find my basherta easily, quickly. You could even pray, help him develop well. You could already daven for him. I know it's a novel thought, davening for a person you don't even know. You could already pray that your cousin should develop well. Prayer, one of the big problems is that people do not believe that their prayers are going to make a difference. Because if they believed, if you could help your life, you do it. You're not dumb. You could help, big shotgun comes, you're going to meet them. Oh, wow. The great Shadchan is in heaven. Hashem is Mezavek Zivugin. He's the one we have to daven to. And it says, Ki kel shemea tfilas kol peh amcha Yisrael barachamim. Hashem listens to all the prayers. Not one ain't tfilah chayzeres reikam. So we should be getting to work. Unfortunately, people don't realize the power of prayer. I imagine next week we're not going to have share. It's Purim. So this is the last time I'll see you before Purim. So let me just give you one very quick thought about Shalach Manos. The idea of Mishloach Manos is because Haman accused us, Yeshna Yamechon Mefuzah Mefurad Bein Hamim. And the Gemara says, Mefuzah Mefurad, Haman said, they're open for the taking because Yesh Preda Beineihem. They're divisive. There's no achtos. And that's why Esther said to Mordechai, Leich kenoises kol hayudim. You have to bring them together. And they enacted Mishloach Manos ish l're'eho. They enacted that Purim should be a day of Mereus, a day of friendship. That's why Yom Kippur is Yom Kippurim. On Yom Kippur, when we ask each other for Mechila, it's Yom Kippurim. It's a day like Purim. Purim is the ultimate time of friendship. The thrust of Mishloach Manos ish l're'eho, big thrust, is to make up with one another. A sister that you're not getting along with. Maybe you're not getting along with your mother. Maybe you're not getting along with a friend. Purim is a day of Mishloach Manos ish l're'eho, a day. That's why Mirza Hashem, when you're running a house, I always tell people, write a list of all the people you want to give Shalach Manos to. Then rip it up and give to everybody you left off the list. That's the real Mishloach Manos. Make sure to tell your brothers, do me a favor, I love you, don't smoke. It's a stupid custom that they have a Purim cigarette. The Cancer Institute, American Cancer Institute, says you can get hooked on cigarette smoking just from one cigarette. Tell them not to take that one cigarette. I want to wish everybody a safe, healthy, and happy Purim.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.